The NBA is thinking about expansion. They're very close to expansion. Vegas and Seattle are the teams that they are going to be voting on, and I'm sure that vote is going to go through, which means that we are now expanding to 32 teams in the NBA, and which means that now if you're going to have two teams that are joining the Western Conference, you're going to have some balance. You can't have, you know, an in a very imbalanced conference lineup. So you have to put two new teams on the other side. And my suggestion was you put the Pelicans over there and you possibly put the Pelicans and probably the Grizzlies I can see going east. And what I'm seeing that they're proposing, I think it's the Wolves and the Grizzlies, I believe. And I'm just like, I don't really see the Wolves as an Eastern Conference team, but I mean, at that point, you're definitely going to have to start doing things that are pretty unconventional. So, um, here's what McGrady said, though. Tracy McGrady made a very, very interesting point, and I want to go ahead and play this. Let's see if it's gonna play on my thing here. I probably don't. That's an interesting statement that he made, that he doesn't believe that there's enough talent in the NBA to be able to add two new teams. That's one way to look at it. But the other way that you can look at it is that you have had so many players that have been bought out, that have been, they're fringe NBA players. They're bouncing off from this team to this team. They're going overseas to try to revitalize their career, to try to get back in the NBA. There is talent that is around the NBA, that are guys that are trying to, find their way. There's nothing wrong with expansion. There's nothing wrong with having those expansion teams maybe struggle a little bit, get into the draft, build up their teams, and then be able to be a competitive team going forward. So, yeah, you may say that there might be a drop off in talent, and it may be hard to be able to fill out two new NBA teams, but I disagree. I think you now have an expansion draft. You protect maybe 9 or 10 players on your team, each team. So now you can be able to have a pick of those remaining players on those teams, and then you can be able to then fill out those teams with those players that did not make the protected cut. So at that point, you're going to have a competent NBA franchise, a competent roster that you now can be able to maneuver and manipulate. Because what that does is that you got two new teams in there, two two new caps, which means that now in Seattle's a big market, Vegas is a big market. Now we're talking about, the free agency being a lot more widespread, right? So if there's a big free agent out there that other teams are waiting for that domino to fall before everybody else gets signed, well, Now we know that this team doesn't have cap, this team doesn't have cap, well, you got these two new teams that have cap. So if a player that thinks about, hey, listen, I'm trying to get paid, I'm trying to cash out, then why wouldn't you take the money from an expansion team? Because same money, right? But you can be able to go there, start fresh, be able to be in a new franchise. It may not be where you want in regards to like contendership at that point, but at least you can be able to have a chance to continue your career and make good money on top of that, because now you're not looking at the other 30 teams to say, oh, well, nobody really has cap space, so now I have to take less just to be able to join a competitive team or just a team in general. No, that there's two other teams out there that now there's big money to be able to be spent. So I see that there's opportunity here. You got the draft every year that you have young talent coming in. So maybe these teams go the young route, or maybe they go the veteran route for a couple of years until they figure it out. I don't think that there's a talent issue. I think that there's a officiating issue, and the way they structure the league in regards to how the league is officiated, how it's played, the tempo. There's a lot of things that I can say that causes the league to look like it's a bit top heavy. But I think an expansion draft with these two teams would be just fine. Be just fine. I think it'd be fine. I'm not a big fan of having the Timberwolves go east. But if it works, it works. Anthony Edwards, him going to the East with the Wolves may end up actually being better for his career, just because the Western Conference is so tough. And now he can be able to be in the Eastern Conference and kind of mimic his idol, Michael Jordan, right? He can be the Jordan of the East. So, we'll see how that works. But I think it'll be fine. Uh, you know, Success comes with problems. And sometimes there's good problems. This is a good problem to have. You have two new teams that are in two big markets that have a rabid fan base. Both of these markets are very, very rabid. So it's going to work itself out. It's going to be good. It's going to be fine. Like, look what happened in regards to the WNBA. WNBA got a team in Vegas, and they've been one of the best teams in the league, right? So you never know what can happen when it comes to expansion. You may think that there's no talent there, but what happens if the right coach gets hired, and that right coach is able to get the right scheme for those players that he has? You never know what can happen. So I'm excited for the possibilities, the endless possibilities of what can happen with two new teams being in the league. So I'm really excited about that.